Likewise, there are some entities which only donate. Okay? Let us take an example over here. Okay? This nitrogen has got, for example, 3 bonded, covalently bonded hydrogen. But इसके पास एक lone pair of electron. This lone pair of electron, which is actually an unshared pair of the unshared electron pair or lone pair, we can say. So there are two kinds of electrons in a molecule: the bonding electrons and non-bonding electrons. So lone pair को non-bonding electrons भी बोल सकते हैं. Non-bonding electrons. A non-bonding electron pair. कोई भी word use कर सकते हैं, ठीक है ना? Okay, now look here. This lone pair of electron, which an atom is not sharing or not utilizing, like suppose for example your neighbor is not using bicycle, which you find every day is becoming a junk. One fine day you request him, if you are not using, can I use it, because it's like, it's getting rusted, and since you are not using, there is no maintenance also, so can I use it? Okay, he says no problem, but in return he doesn't ask anything. The neighbor doesn't ask anything. That means he is forming a kind of coordinate covalent bond, or you are going for a coordinate covalent bond. Let us see this nitrogen, which has got a lone pair of electrons. Hydrogen approaches this nitrogen.
So proton or hydrogen?
Proton, yes. Now how this proton is formed, वो हम लोग अभी देखेंगे. Because protons are unstable. You know very well that proton always forms what? Hydronium ion. वो भी अभी आगे देखेंगे. So what happens? This proton clear abstracts this particular lone pair of electrons. वो absorb कर लेता है, ठीक है? ये attract कर लेता है. And finally what happens? This particular hydrogen, nitrogen, ठीक है? And then this particular, both the electrons are coming from this atom nitrogen, so we show by coordinate. And this is a part of the unit only. Therefore, this total positive charge is there on this ammonium ion, and this is called as ammonium ion. Okay. And this is called as what? Coordinate. These are called as what? Covalent. If they ask you how many covalent bonds are there in ammonium ion, the answer is 3 covalent bonds. 3 covalent bonds. Okay. And 1 coordinate covalent. Totally 4 bonds. Okay. Let us take an example here. One more example. Hydrogen ion approaches water. Now, water has got, for example, how many, for example, pair of electrons which are that water is not using? 2 lone pairs. So they ask you this question also. How many lone pairs are there in water molecules? 2 lone pairs. But it is actually depending on the stability. Water can use both the electrons. But if 2 pairs of electrons are used, then these electrons they come very close to each other, and they make that particular final unit unstable. So here this hydrogen takes only one hydrogen only is approaching. Clear? So let us see. And what happens? This particular electron of oxygen, pair of electron from oxygen, is actually what? Accepted by this hydrogen. Then what do you get? You get this particular H, coordinate covalent. H3O plus hydronium ion. So this is more stable over here. Yes or no?
Sir, lone pairs. Can you explain that why only one hydrogen proton is coming to react with one lone pair of?
One lone pair, because जब 2 hydrogen आएंगे तो they will be coming very close to each other. What will happen? Repulsive forces. Repulsive forces means kind of instability for that unit. Clear? That's why, and the energy becomes high, potential energy. So they break open. Okay? Because this oxygen atom is very small. So ये lone pair क्या हो रहा है? जब they are sharing, through hydrogen ions are coming, okay, and forming a kind of bonding. Suppose ये hydrogen इधर आ गया भी, coordinate covalent bond बन सकता है. But what is happening? That these pairs of electrons are coming, always closer. So there is a kind of more repulsive forces. Unlike these forces which are actually what? Controlled by this oxygen. इसको control कर सकते हैं. But after bonding, okay, they may actually have some kind of repulsive forces. ये pair of electron, ये pair of electron. That's why.
Sir, in the first example that you gave of ammonium ion, instead of an extra hydrogen and proton, if an oxygen atom comes, then will it still remain a coordinate bond?
I will explain it. Now look here. Here, oxygen double bond. One student was asking in the other branch, okay, that oxygen we can understand it's a covalent bond. But what about ozone? चलो जो ओजोन रहता है उसमें एक ऑक्सीजन आ जाता है उसके पास 3 pairs of electrons. Okay, this oxygen requires 2 electrons. इसके पास एक pair of electrons. देखिए कितने. So what actually happens? This has got 6 electrons, right? Your oxygen is stable. So what it does? This particular oxygen requires to complete its octet. Okay? Okay? And therefore what it does? It actually what abstracts this. क्या बनेगा? Ozone. Yes or no?
But can you explain that again?
ये देखो यहाँ पे एक लोन पेयर है ना ऑक्सीजन के पास, ठीक है? Now children, octet of one this particular unit is complete. उसको तो कोई stable नहीं है. That means your neighbor is highly stable. उसके पास bicycle है, सब कुछ है. तुम्हारे like the other atom is deficient of that pair of electron. Or we are having a deficiency in terms of that bicycle which we require to go to school or maybe somewhere else. When you find that this pair of electron is not utilized, you feel like, you know, for example, okay, attendance साइन करो आराम से. हो गया? दे दो. सबका हो गया सिग्नेचर. So यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? This is a pair of electron. Oxygen के पास 6 electrons. To complete its octet, 2 electrons are required. So what it does? Abstracts that. I mean, absorbs that, and you will get what? Coordinate covalent. So ozone, we are having a double covalent bond and a coordinate covalent. Okay? So the one which is actually what donating here is a donor. This is donor. This is acceptor. This is some acceptor. Clear? It forms, for example, this. I mean, like ozone is nothing but formation of a doubly covalent bond molecule along with coordinate covalent. Remember, okay? You know, इसमें एक चीज है. One should be deficient of lone pair, other should be having a lone pair. This is a condition for this bond formation. One should be deficient of lone pair, other should be having excess of lone pair over there. Right off. It's like saying this way. Every day you bring your tiffin box, and your friend, what do you say, makes it, you know, for example, empty. Makes it empty every day, and you look at his face and get satisfied. I understand. Means, तुम्हारा टिफिन बॉक्स तुम्हारा फ्रेंड ले रहा है रोज और तुम उसका फेस देख के satisfied हो गए. Why? Because he is actually what? For example, is satisfying his hunger by actually what, having your own tiffin box. But he is not bringing he is not bringing the tiffin box any day. Okay, or all the days he comes empty-handed. And other people, they question you. You are having the material, okay, you are having the tiffin box, you are going, for example, empty stomach every day home, and your friend is having from it. Clear? So that means then you say it's a special type of bonding. This type of bonding everybody cannot have. That your tiffin box, your material, and then other is enjoying it nicely. This is very few people can do this kind of bonding. Okay? इसमें और एक concept है, आपको मैं बता दूँ. इसमें क्या हो रहा है? For example, like suppose you go to your relative's place and there is some kind of, you know, occasion, and you have not taken your party dress or something, like blazer or suit or whatever, clear? And then, for example, when the occasion comes, they donate that particular, you know, for example, party wear to you. You don't contribute anything. You wear you know, for example, dress and go for the party. It's like a bond formation. Clear? So that is a special type of bond. Sometimes it happens with you. I've brought for casual dresses, casual clothes. So I don't have party wear. So sometimes it happens with this. This kind of bonding is special type of bond. Okay? इसमें कैसे होता है? Actually, there are two kinds of bonds over here. First step में क्या होता है? ये अपना एक इलेक्ट्रॉन इसको दे देता है. First step में दोनों equal हो जाते हैं. फिर share कर. That's why it's called co-ionic bond also. यानी पहले ही अपना इलेक्ट्रॉन एक दे देते हैं, दोनों equalize हो जाते हैं, और उसके बाद sharing. That means first is ionic. Why? Because one is giving, other is taking, and then sharing. So it's co-ionic bond also it is called. But that mechanism in your level is not given. This is directly will show this bond formation. coordinate
So
pair.
is it coordinate formation? Is it a step in this coordinate? A step.
Yes, step ahead of covalent. Step ahead of this particular covalent bond, because अगर इसमें stability आ गया, what about the other atoms which are not having stability? So just to kind of a temporary kind of arrangement, we have a coordinate covalent bond. A step ahead of covalent bond. We get, that's why it sometimes is referred as coordinate covalent bond. इधर लिखा नहीं है, नहीं तो you get confused with covalent. And your lower standard, 10th standard में coordinate bond ही लिखते हैं, coordinate covalent bond नहीं. Remember? नहीं तो तुम कंफ्यूज हो गए कोवलेंट बॉन्ड है इसमें, ठीक है, लिख लीजिए. Which one? ओजोन नहीं, पॉजिटिव नहीं, इट इज ने न्यूट्रल एटम है, ये भी न्यूट्रल, तो पूरा मॉलिक्यूल न्यूट्रल हो गया. ओके, राइट डाउन एवरीथिंग. So we have completed this topic. Only one part is remaining, redox reaction, na?
Yes.
So that will complete. Then we'll go for the questions of this topic. Okay? हो गया सबका? लिखा आपने? Have you written? No. Should I rub it out? लिखा कि नहीं लिखा? This answer you have written? Huh? Sure.
Sir.
This everyone has written or not?
Yes, sir.
How many are still writing? Raise your hands.
Sir, can you explain ozone formation after the formation of a double covalent bond with oxygen, sir? तो lone pair कैसे बनता है? क्योंकि octet complete हो गया तो कुछ नहीं बचता.
नहीं, लोन पर रहेगा ना उसको.
तो कैसे? क्योंकि ऑक्सीजन में पूरा अभी 8 ऑक्टेट हो गया तो लोन पेयर सब मतलब ऑक्टेट रूल के हिसाब से आउटर मोस्ट पे 8 इलेक्ट्रॉन्स आ गए तो
नहीं, ऑक्सीजन का क्या है? ऑक्सीजन 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन अनपेड है और रिमेनिंग 2 पेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है ना, 2 इलेक्ट्रॉन शेयर हो रहे हैं, उसके जो रिमेनिंग इलेक्ट्रॉन्स है 4, वो पेयर फॉर्म. ये देखो ऐसा नहीं, 1 2 पहले ईस्ट वेस्ट नॉर्थ साउथ में लिख दो 4 में, फिर पेयरिंग करो, एक और 2 अनपेड थे वो शेयर और ओवर 2 अनपेड पेयर ऑफ इलेक्ट्रॉन है.
Sir, it donates to another. Sir, तो वो unstable हो जाएगा ना?
नहीं, वो अनस्टेबल कैसे? नहीं, that is
शेयर है ना
it is just sharing. It is sharing only. Octet is completed. ठीक है? It's not giving permanently. It's just sharing contribution. Okay? Anytime it can take back to and convert. That's why ozone is unstable. Ammonium can go back into ammonia and H+. Okay? Written overview. Now how this H+ ion is created, वो भी एक बुक में दिया है. Let us put that particular part. H+ ion कैसे form होता है? Now this is water. Okay? What actually happens? Water splits up in the form of H+ ion. That is this particular oxygen pulling the electron because there is a pressure from this hydrogen or this hydrogen. Any one hydrogen becomes what? So it takes the electron of this hydrogen also and gets what charge?
positive.
ये negative charge और ये positive. That positive charge is used to. ये जो water है, okay, when you actually it's available in the, let us say in the vessel, what actually happens? Under this condition of room condition, this water splits up because there is a pressure from this oxygen and this hydrogen, or maybe this hydrogen, to get the electron. That means to dissociate, to separate. So when it actually separates out, suppose this is the electron of hydrogen. So ये electron, because oxygen is more electron negative, pulls the electron toward itself. And when it pulls the electron, this electron of hydrogen comes to oxygen, and this hydrogen is free from electrons. Okay, so इसका octet तो complete हो गया, but इसका duplet, it becomes empty. No electrons, 0 electrons over this. And that makes that hydroxide ion. So formation of hydroxide and hydrogen ion. And this hydrogen ion immediately, in order to stabilize, looks for a bigger molecule like ammonia or water or maybe other substance also, and forms, for example, certain compounds. ठीक है ना? तो इसमें H+ ions का एक important role है. And this is like a neutralization reaction. What is that? ये acid है, ये base है, ये salt है. ठीक है, जो यानी जो एक्सेप्ट करता है उसको लुईस एसिड बोलते हैं। ये कॉन्सेप्ट लुईस करके एक साइंटिस्ट है, उन्होंने दिया। The one which is accepting a lone pair of electrons, Lewis acid. The one which is donating a lone pair is a Lewis base. Just like Arrhenius definition of H plus ion, एक Lewis करके एक साइंटिस्ट है, इसमें Lewis structure तो हमने देखा है, it's a Lewis base. So base always reacts with an acid to produce salt. So ammonium ion is a salt, यानी part of the salt, ammonium chloride. Remember, ठीक है? So it's like acting as what? So ये lone pair electron donor है, so it's a donor means Lewis base हो गया। और जो एक्सेप्ट करेगा लुईस एसिड, एक्सेप्टर ऑफ लोन पेयर इज अ लुईस एसिड, द डोनर ऑफ लोन पेयर इज अ लुईस बेस। आई मीन ये कॉन्सेप्ट तुम्हारे सिलेबस में नहीं है अभी फिलहाल, बट इट्स लाइक अ न्यूट्रलाइजेशन, ठीक है? एक को इलेक्ट्रॉन चाहिए और दूसरा दे रहे हैं, तो इससे स्टेबिलिटी इन द स्टेट ऑफ क्राइसिस व्हेन योर फ्रेंड्स दे हेल्प यू, you feel that particular bonding where, like suppose your results have come down drastically and you are in a depressed state and your friend says I'm coming and for example let us discuss out what happened, okay, and when he or she comes it brings about stability, remember, okay? So that is something which is actually what then that time of the crisis you will understand or experience this particular bond formation. जब तक वो प्रोसेस नहीं हो रहा है तब तक आपको ये एक्सपीरियंस नहीं हो रहा है, तब तक आपको ये काइंड ऑफ सॉर्ट ऑफ बॉन्ड फॉर्मेशन विल नॉट हिट योर हार्ट और योर माइंड एट दिस, when it actually what happens then it hits you. Okay, now let's come to the next part of the topic and that is the redox reaction. Mahalakshmi ji, मोबाइल मोबाइल सब अंदर रख दिया आपने, क्योंकि वहाँ रखा है कि चल रहा है पिक्चर श्योर शहर आपका कुछ वहाँ पे कुछ, क्योंकि अभी बोर्ड एग्जाम में राइट, कीप योर मोबाइल, क्योंकि नाउ लेट अस कम टू okay, so let us work on the next part and that is last part of this topic and then we'll proceed with the questions. So the question is giving you a kind of for example satisfaction कि हम लोगों ने सब points किया है कि नहीं, कुछ points नहीं किया है तो question में आ जाएगा, पूरा absorb कर लो. Now look here, the next part is redox reaction, ठीक है? And after this today itself in the next lecture we'll start with acids, bases and salts. Third topic, okay? Let us see the redox reactions. What is redox reaction? It is a combination of two, for example, complementary parts in this chapter, in the part of this reaction. Okay? The complementary part is what? Oxidation. And second is okay? What is called oxidation? Addition of oxygen or removal of hydrogen. Here, removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen. ठीक है ना? आगे समझो. हाँ, एक मिनट, वो बाद में आता है. Next step में वही आता है, ठीक है? And the substance which undergoes oxidation is called as a reducing agent. So reducing agents are nothing but what? Substances मोबाइल यूज कर रहा है अंदर बैक पर substances नहीं, this habit will go a little bit slowly. Why? Because all these years, 2 years you were using, going for online teaching or learning, थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा आपको हैबिट निकालने के, ठीक है? Detach your mobile from yourself, okay? Let us see substances which undergoes what? Only oxidation, right? Okay. And substances which undergo what? Gain of electrons, that is oxidizing agent. ठीक है ना? substances to undergo. There is one more definition of oxidation reduction. What is that? Oxidation means loss of electrons. Reduction means what?
Gain of electron.
Yes. Let us take an example here. This copper oxide reacting with hydrogen gives you what? Copper plus water. Now can you tell me which is undergoing oxidation, which is undergoing reduction?
Hydrogen is going oxidation and copper is reduced.
Now what is oxidation? Oxidation is gain of oxygen or removal of hydrogens. Or we can say reduction is nothing but what? Loss of oxygen or gain of hydrogen. So here just say copper oxide. यहाँ पे copper oxide क्या हो रहा है? Copper oxide is becoming what? Copper. That means it has lost oxygen. Lost oxygen means what? It has undergone reduction. That means if it is lost, for example, oxygen, that means it has actually what? For example, undergone reduction. That means it's an oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent means a supplier of oxygen. That means what? It is an oxidizing agent. Yeah. Because substances are showing oxidizing property, that is oxidizing agent. Hydrogen on the other hand, there is an addition of oxygen. Okay, addition of oxygen means what? Oxidation. Yeah, oxidation. Now substances which undergo oxidation is called as what? Are said to be what? Reducing agents. Yes or no? So here reducing agent. Let me give you two more examples and then you find out. And one student will come over here and try to find out which substance is undergoing oxidation and which substance is undergoing reduction. Let us take this example over here. Zinc oxide plus coke, which is used in metallurgy. जिंक का एक्सट्रैक्शन में हम लोग कोक यूज करते हैं और ये रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट इसका जिंक ऑक्सीजन निकाल देते हैं एंड देन व्हाट यू गेट जिंक एंड सेकंड रिएक्शन MnO2 plus HCl gives you MnCl2 plus Cl2 plus water. Chalo, now who would like to give the answer? You want to give that? Chalo, first ये रिएक्शन बैलेंस है कि चलो आज take any which is undergoing last page mobile and all these things inside. कहाँ पे मोबाइल आपका? नीचे बुक में बैग में रखते हैं। नहीं तो यू विल नाखून देख रहे देखो अभी संभाल के रखो मोबाइल नहीं टूट जाए नहीं तो प्रॉब्लम आएगा मोबाइल carbon is look at this excellent in the class only you are getting it so you are going to be topper in the school isn't it all of you are toppers because in the class only you are getting the concept and एक बार practice करेंगे घर में आराम से आ जाएगा addition of oxygen so it is oxidizing agent and that is okay you right now zinc carbon is getting oxidized or what yes carbon is getting oxidized na लिखो oxidation it is a reducing agent but इधर word oxidation आने चाहिए side हमने addition लिख दिया no problem oxidation okay here you can write oxidation carbon is getting oxidized or we can say so here carbon is getting oxidized to carbon monoxide okay oxidized and zinc oxide is getting reduced zinc oxide is getting reduced to 6 okay zinc is an oxidized zinc oxide is an oxidizing agent and carbon is a reduced now who would like to come last page come on come here how will you write which is undergoing oxidation, which is undergoing reduction? Who would like to do? You are not okay. Nothing to worry. This side, come. MnO2 plus 4HCl. Look at this reaction. So MnO2, that means oxygen is missing. Oxygen is missing means what? Reduction. Look, hardly 1 minute it takes. Right? Dhwani, which one will be oxidizing agent, which one will be ready? Right, oxidation. So Dhwani will give the answer for this. आ जाओ इधर तो मोबाइल इधर इसके पास इसका फोन बजा अनम्यूट किया चलो इधर दोनों फोन इधर ओके reducing agent this is चलो आ जाओ इधर Dhwani will give the answer. Dhwani क्या आंसर है? MnO2 is an oxidizing agent or oxygen supply is oxidizing agent. ठीक है? Good. Okay. So write down children this part and then we'll go for the questions and answers. हाँ मोबाइल इधर दे दीजिए. Give it to me. Give it so that it will be safe. Unmute or muting क्या होगा? Give your mobile over here. Yeah, back वाला चाहिए. All of you this side. Otherwise it distracts your mind and radiation बहुत ज़्यादा फैल जाए. ठीक है? तो अंदर रख लीजिए. बैग क्या? Have you kept your mobile in the bag? All three of you last bench, second last. कहाँ है आपका मोबाइल? कहाँ पे? Show me for the bag. बैग बंद कर लीजिए. उसका zip कर लीजिए. Zipping in. Keep it inside the bag. Very good. And here, what about you? Where is your mobile? Back. Third last bench.
Which element is that?
Huh? Manganese. Manganese dioxide. रख दो अंदर बैक. तो हाँ. तो इस बार board exam में we have to be like one question should be there that I want to become the topper of the institute. You get this question should go on. Okay. So now open the board questions. Okay. 2021 and 22. Let us start working the first session. Second session में हम लोग नया chapter शुरू करेंगे. Which is because there is a short topic so we cannot delay the other topic because portion भी चलना चाहिए. तो श्रुति, come on. पहला क्वेश्चन यानी कौन सा ईयर से स्टार्ट हो रहा है? I'll give you some time to plan out. Do the planning 2021. So let us take this way. Clear? यहाँ पे सबने लिखा ये?
Yes.
Okay. Now let us make this kind of two groups because that will actually what? So here it is Atharva and company. Here it is Dhwani and company. Okay. So now this set of question 2021, 2019, 2017, 10, 13, 11. ये 2020 अगर है तो है कि नहीं? 22 है. 2021 और इधर क्या है? 18 है ना डायरेक्टली?
Yes sir, 89.
हाँ, because 18, 16, 14, 12, 10 and 2028. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But depends upon अगर ज़्यादा question और 2008 will not come because we have to go for equivalent kind of questions. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just check the number of questions because somewhere I think so in 1 year they have asked many questions from this topic. Okay? I don't know which year, but it is I think so 2004.
There was a question that gave reason why HCl, dilute HCl is more a stronger acid than
Acetic acid, yes sir.
Because HCl is a stronger acid, give more number of H plus ions. Whereas acetic acid, more number of
Dissociates what? More water, right?
more H plus. नहीं 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 फ्री नहीं है, इसमें H प्लस आयन ज्यादा रहेगा, ओके, एसिड बेसिस ना, हाँ तुम लोग को आउट ऑफ इसमें से आएगा एसिड मार्क्स हाँ that will come in this next year acid basis chapter. So you will get marks. Yeah, children, you can ask marks for that because that question belongs to the other topic. Electrolysis or acid basis salts. Okay, but that question is out of syllabus with respect to
Yes sir, because it was from acid base.
So you can go for recorrection. Recorrection के लिए आप बोल सकते हो. Yeah,
Sir, actually there was a table given with element A and element B. Element A was sodium and element B was chlorine. So the bond formed between is electrovalent bond and is highly soluble. हाँ, तो वो पूछा था.
Ionic.
The physical state of the NaCl and solubility in.
Sir, it is highly soluble in water.
Highly soluble in water and crystalline in solid.
Soluble, an ionic bond. Okay. Now, children, start planning out. This side, this set of students will, okay, and here they will go for these questions, odd questions number, and this will be even. Okay, start it. Have you got it? And children, if you want, you can write down in the volume itself with pencil. The answer, agar one word answer is, so please write down in that, so that you know the answer also will be there. And if it's a big answer, then write in your notebook. Clear? Start.
छोटा छोटा सर एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड Al2O3
So in this, you also need
Sumed
DH.
Yes.
Sumed will give questions from 2020, 2021, first or second question. Okay, second, Shiva. Okay, you will give the next question. ये ऑर्डर में जाएगा चलो.
सर ओनली
ये ऑर्डर
क्वेश्चन सर ये 2021 पूरा करेगा ये 20
नहीं ऐसे नहीं, एक क्वेश्चन है ऑर्डर में पूरा क्वेश्चन में से एनर्जी ड्रेन हो जाएगा. Therefore they will become. Then what's your name? SH EZA. Then Shivangi. Where this next one? Pardon? Nidhi. Then Srishti. अच्छा, बहुत good. क्या है? ऋतु.
अरे सर सृष्टि के बाद
ऋतु ना? हाँ? ऋतु. Next. हाँ? अच्छा रेवा. Good. Next. अवनी ना? बराबर है? अच्छा अवनी. वैष्णवी. Right? Spelling is right. This side, Jolly is there.
Yes, sir.
Then Shruti.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Sanskruti.
Huh?
Sanskruti.
Right?
Yes. Rushita.
बराबर?
We are UK.
Rushita. Okay.
UK SHX.
Sahar, right na?
Ishani. Sorry.
Isha. अच्छा डबल ई अभी बस गिरीश गिरीश विराट हाँ और VI A विशाल हाँ विशाल श्रेयस चलो स्टार्ट कर नाउ क्वेश्चंस विल गो इन दिस ऑर्डर ओनली स्टूडेंट्स का नाम चिल्ड्रन का नाम लिखा है वन क्वेश्चन तो पहले ये क्वेश्चन स्टार्ट होगा इधर से 1 2 3 व्हाटएवर नंबर ऑफ क्वेश्चंस then again so each one will get an opportunity to answer the question नहीं तो ऐसा लगेगा सर मुझे तो पूछे थे ठीक है so each one will get the opportunity to give the answer everybody has prepared this topic in a way ठीक है or you can see the answer also open book kind of नाम नहीं है हाँ बहुत ही अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा ये क्वेश्चंस जैसे कि ऑर्डर में जाएगा ना so that nobody is left out nobody will isolated sir you are isolated it's like everybody is like a teamwork okay he is left out Saksham Saksham will give the first question. Second will be Sumer, then Shivam. अथर्व का नाम इधर नहीं लिखा या ज्वाली का नाम नहीं लिखा
सर मेरा है
इधर है इधर लिखा है आंसरिंग के लिए ओके ओके चलो नाउ 10 minutes more पहला दो क्वेश्चन आपको करना है लास्ट क्यों इस तरह क्यों नहीं कर रहे अरे they will help you out हाँ वैसे भी लास्ट क्वेश्चन इसका बी है वैष्णव okay. Now last 10 minutes I'm giving you in this preparation at least 3-4 questions with the sign. Okay, please do it. Now only you get the practice of the level of the board exam. It will be easier for you. सक्षम हो गया आपका? पहला क्वेश्चन आपको
ऑक्सीजन फॉर्म होता है ना डबल कोवैलेंट बॉन्ड एक्चुअली बात यही है यही है ऑक्सीजन डबल कोवैलेंट बॉन्ड फॉर्म करता है
और
दो पैर
if you there is a drawing that you write down over there or you write on the page number if the diagram is given it will be easier for your reference.
कार्बन टेट्राक्लोराइड
हो गया सबका?
Sir, how many chapters?
3 yes. पहले लेवल पे 3 कर लेते हैं, then next level में again you will be doing 3. He will be doing 3 and you will be doing 2. So how many are over? Section, other work, Vithi, कितना हो गया?
सर 2018-19
तीन आपको करना है. Right? वैष्णवी कितना हो आपका? Good. Then this side, Shreyas, कितना हो आपका? Where have you reached? हाँ? पूरा 2010 तक हो गया? कैसे? नहीं, ये तीनों हो गया आपका? ये पूरा right? हो गया? कितना हो गया? No multi, no point. covalent molecules.
अरे देखो इधर not from ions because
Sir, 60, 18,
अरे हर पेपर में ये कॉम्प्लेक्स
Okay, okay,
18, 16, 14.
okay, हाँ बस अभी फिलहाल 18, 16, 14. Here 17.
इलेक्ट्रॉन्स भी बोल सकते हैं they don't fit in they don't form
Well हो गया आपका. Go on doing it. Now let's start working on. ये this is done all of you.
yes sir
Other one 2017. Okay. First question. Saksham, पहला question. You will read the question and answer.
Solid sodium.
Sit down and read. Natish go.
Solid sodium chloride does not.
Solid sodium chloride does not contain electricity.
Because it does not contain
Yes. Free
ions.
ions. They do not contain free ions. Because solid, what happens? Because they get binded by what? Strong electrostatic forces. As a result, they do not produce or they do not have free ions. Very good. 10 points over here. Next one. Second question क्या है? Hey, first question from this side. Who is giving? Shruti, give the first answer from 2018.
Name the following. First one. The tendency of an atom to attract electrons towards itself and combined in a covalent compound. Electronegativity.
Electronegativity. Very good. 10 points over here. Let us go for the second question. 2020 and 21. Who is that? Sumit. Fully.
Elements A and B have electronic configuration 8 and 13
8 and 13. Ah. Then
The chemical formula formed between A and B will be
क्या हो जाएगा?
option D. B
इसका वैलेंसी 2 हो जाएगा और इसका वैलेंसी 3. So that means what? A वैलेंसी 2, B वैलेंसी 3, criss cross. A3 B2. क्या आंसर है?
B2A.
B2 A3. या उन्होंने उल्टा दिया. B2 A3.
सर ये तो A to B नहीं एल्युमिनियम ऑक्साइड है ना सर ये
एल्यूमिनियम Al3 B2 हो गया. O2 हो गया.
सर A to
नहीं वैलेंसी इसका कितना है? 2 है ना
yes
और इसका वैलेंसी 3 है. तो यहाँ पे लिखेंगे तो क्रॉस A3 B2 हो गया ना या B2 A3 B2 A3. अभी B2 A3 means B is nothing but aluminium. अथर्व,
Yes, sir.
you are asking this way.
हाँ, sir.
ठीक है. B अभी Al is B हो गया और O.
सर यही तो बोला
लेकिन नहीं हम लोग को ये फॉर्मूला लिखना है. उसमें तो Al2O3 नहीं दिया ना. Okay, next one. What was that next one? This side. Sanskriti, बोलिए.
The chloride bond in which the electrons are shared equally between the combining atoms, non-polar.
Non-polar. Excellent. Full marks over here. Next one. Who's the next one? Shivam. Next question. उसके बाद कौन सा? Carbon tetrachloride. Yes. Good. Here. Rukshita ना? Rukshita बोलिए.
Draw the electron dot structure of nitrogen.
Nitrogen. How will you draw? Means what it will contain.
Covalent.
I only tell me how many bonds will be there between two nitrogen. Right. Very good. Okay. Here it is. No, next question. Sheza is there? Sheza बोलिए. Dot structure में dot structure में आपको इधर. Okay. Next one. Yeah, listen. हाँ. 4. हाँ बोलिए. W26. Very important question. Third one not done. The third one.
थर्ड वन बोला ना सर इसका
बोला आपने? क्या बोला आपने?
सर कार्बन टेट्राक्लोराइड
कार्बन टेट्राक्लोराइड. अच्छा हाँ right. Hey, third one is to bola, but I was not aware of the number. Boli. Fourth question. 4 elements. Shweta, continue. 2, 6. 2, 8. Then, 2, 8. Now, children, here, the very important question Sheza is reading. Listen to it carefully because ये कोई भी question आ सकता है exam. बोलिए. What are the points?
Which pair of atoms will form?
How many subparts are there?
Sir, 4.
4. So 40 points, 40 marks question. Remember? Okay, हाँ. Because आपका भी ऐसे subparts रहेगा. You will get. नहीं है. चलो बोलो. Options है क्या? बोलो.
Which pair of atoms will form a covalent compound?
कोवलेंट कंपाउंड. कौन सा बनाएंगे? कोवलेंट W बनाएंगे. राइट. और कौन सा? ये वाला बनाएंगे कि ये वाला कि कौन सा
Sir,
बनाएंगे?
W.
खाली W.
Yes, sir.
अच्छा खाली ऑप्शन दिया है क्या?
हाँ, sir.
2 atoms of W.
2 atoms of W. Why? Because 6 electrons. Now, when
Yes,
the
sir.
covalent bond is formed,
It is
when an
oxygen,
atom is
sir,
having
covalent.
नहीं, when an atom is having 4 or more than 4 electrons. तो इसके पास 4 है. इसके पास 8 है, but ये stable है. इसके पास 7 है, but it's actually going to form ionic bond.
Ionic bond.
Yes, these two are ions. So W is the answer, right? 10 points over here. Next one. So this group is actually having now 40 points here. One more question. So let us see. Tie up there fully.
Draw the electron constant of sodium chloride.
Sodium chloride. How will you draw? Na you will take, okay? And then electron of this, right? Okay? Second part. Oh, second part. That means you are getting bonus. Chali. Second part is there?
Yes, sir. Third one. This was the second one.
Second. Third one, police.
Ammonium ion.
So how will you draw? Rod structure. Huh? So here and then what? Right? And then this is yes. Coordinate bond. But dot structure may be coordinate bond. You show closer to hydrogen. Okay? So 10 points again. Here 15. Then any other subpart? This side. Who's the next one? Shivangi. Sit down. Sit. The element with atomic number?
9.
Yes, very good. Lose an electron and get oxidized. Next one. हो गया? एक ही part. Then next one this side. Ishani बोली.
Most likely combine chemically with the element whose atomic number is
17. Yes, 17 because 7 electrons. Yes, that means it is ionic form. Right? Because उसके पास एक electron, इसके पास 7. Good. Next one. Nidhi.
Which of the following has two sets of lone pair of electrons in them?
Water. Absolutely. 2 lone pairs or 1 lone pair? 2 lone. Yes, excellent. Good. Next one. Avi.
The following table shows the electronic configuration of the following elements. What is the type of bond formed between W and X?
W का electronic configuration क्या है?
281.
281. Then
X 287.
yes. So what kind of bond will be formed?
Ionic.
Yes, ionic. First question, 10 points. Then
Second part.
second part क्या है?
So Y and Z.
Huh? Y and Z.
Y is 2 and 5.
Y and Z. Y कितना है? 2,
Z is
5. And Z is 1. Covalent bond. ठीक है ना? 10 points. Then any other question? No. इसी में क्वेश्चन है क्या? बोलो. Second part. एक मिनट अभी स्टोर ना. Second question. हाँ बोलो.
Sir, third part is exercise.
सर ये लोग ज्यादा पॉइंट्स है सर
नहीं नहीं सब क्वेश्चंस आल्सो आर देयर देन
ये थोड़ी ना होता है
बट इधर भी बहुत सब क्वेश्चन आएंगे
सर हम लोग को इलेक्ट्रॉन डॉट स्ट्रक्चर बनाने के लिए 20 पॉइंट दिया सर
चलो हु इज रीडिंग द नेक्स्ट वन बोलिए हां हु इज दैट हां बोल XZ व्हाट इज XZ ये वाला है क्या ZX okay or XZ ZX means whatever bond it will form huh ionic ये 7 इसके बाद एक polar covalent bond नहीं ZX ये एक इलेक्ट्रॉन लूज नहीं करेगा शेयर करेगा हाइड्रोजन का इट्स गोइंग टू बी कोवेलेंट कंपाउंड हाइड्रोजन का एक इलेक्ट्रॉन शेयर होता है लूज नहीं होता ओके 10 points but it is not ionic चलो नेक्स्ट वन दिस साइड हो गया वन मोर हां बोलो WNX what is that question repeat to actually I think so okay no problem फॉर्मूला कुछ है बोलो NaCl चलो good now let us come to this side कितना हो गया 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 100 let's see well of course we are not following of course some more questions are there Reva na Ritu Srishti chalo सुनो which one pardon covalent bond can you read the question which the electronic configuration is given what is the electronic configuration H X loudly
Sir, it is actually a diagram of
what is that which question question number कौन सा है 7 write the electron arrangement for the outer portion covalent what is that answer covalent C yes okay answer C okay very simple okay. I thought it was MCQ now which was the next one one question from this side question 2000 type of bonding in hydrogen chloride give that answer also covalent yes so that is okay 2000 next question that side you are also having you are also having the later on see this यहाँ पे है ना पीछे देखिए सब कुछ
2011 में भी एक ही 2013 में भी
एक ही है क्या अच्छा तो then we'll anyway now we'll give this next time you'll get a bonus or jackpot
सर हम लोग को इलेक्ट्रॉन डॉट स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है इसमें हम लोग एक्स्ट्रा
चलो 2000 ये हो गया 2021 right 2018
and 16 also
19 16 हो गया ये 19 हुआ कि नहीं
19 हुआ
16 नहीं हुआ है ना 16 हो गया 2019 what about 2019 this side
2019 बाकी है सर 19 बाकी है 19 का सेकंड
okay 2019 first will pick up and then we'll go for चलो बोलो 2019 now Ritu has given the answer now Reva Avni and these four come on fast first
The tendency of an atom to attract electrons towards itself when combined in a covalent compound.
Yes.
Electronegativity.
Electronegativity. Very good. Next one, second.
The covalent bond which the electrons
हमने बोली
are shared equally between the combining non-polar.
non-polar. Excellent. चलो next one. This number is lined up over here. चलो draw the electron dot structure.
Dot structure of nitrogen.
Come here and draw the structure. This is a jackpot question where directly she will get 60 points. She is drawing the structure. Second, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride. 60 points. She is drawing. Redrawing.
इलेक्ट्रॉन डॉट स्ट्रक्चर बनाना है
Dot E. Not even. 60 points for this question. After the third diagram. Third one is
सर वो भी बना हुआ है
relax.
सुनाई नहीं दिया
Since we have drawn, yes, we have drawn today itself. Okay, good, excellent. Yes. ठीक है? तो total अभी मार लेते हैं. ये
160.
एक मिनट अभी ये क्वेश्चन बाकी है ना.
बचा है वो तो
हाँ वही let us see ना.
Yes.
Okay, 2014 now check it out all of you. 2014. Last question 2014. One question will pick up and then we'll have a break. Okay? चलो बोलो.
सर 2014 में 3 क्वेश्चंस हैं 20 मार्क ईच
हाँ
हो
चलो.
जाएंगे
First 2014. Who is reading the last one? Vishal and Dhwani. Yes. Come on. दोनों complete कर. Vishal you have read? Vishal नहीं चलो. ये श्रेयस ने read किया आंसर. श्रेयस बोलो. All three of you. इधर श्रीराज बोलो हाँ. चलो श्रीराज.
So 2014 first one, right?
हाँ.
A compound X consists of 14 molecules, hence X will have a strong force of attraction.
लो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट है लो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट
Not sure.
Low melting
लो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट है ना लो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट सर we only answer sir
anybody can take answer. अरे ये जो question. This question number 2014 first. Low melting point and boiling. Second. Yes. Nitrogen. Hey, triple covalent bond. अरे तुम लोग ऐसे कॉन्ट्रडिक्शन होगा तो 0 मार्क्स. Uniformly you have to tell. Nitrogen. Last question. Triple. Good. देखो इधर now next time the question will pass to this side or vice versa. Okay. Next one. Why do the covalent compounds exist as gases, liquids, or soft solids? Bolo.
So that they can.
Why do they exist in these states?
So
Liquids
because the force of attraction between them is less.
between the molecules, okay, is less or weaker. Van der Waals forces. Okay. 130. Okay. Next one. Next time, that is next in the after the break, we'll discuss few questions and then start. Till 12:30. Okay. Sorry. Now 12:30 तक है ना? 1 minute. Now children, do one thing. 1, 2, 3. And here also this you complete for the remaining 15 minutes. After the break, we'll discuss. Yes, sir. Start. Okay? Come on, start.
ब्रेक है
Break नहीं अभी 15 मिनट है. 11 to 12:30 because 1 hour. Now सुनो 15 मिनट है तो just complete this remaining. I was under the impression 1 Now children, continue this remaining part. Here, at this moment it is 130 versus 160, isn't it? Oh, thorough bit. Now all of you start working on the remaining questions. नहीं 10 बाकी है, चलो करो. सब लोग हो गए 10. But let them complete. Do one thing. तुम लोग का अगर ये भी हो गया तो 2011 में चलो start. Yeah, 2011 as well as 2000. दोनों का ये. Let us see. One point. You try it. Now, all of you, you're doing wonderfully well, giving the answer. Look at it. And the sky is the limit basically. You're excellently giving the answer to the remaining whatever things are there. Let us complete. Then we can start with a new topic after the break. Or maybe first half an hour we'll just discuss so that this topic is through. And examination you will not have any problems. Okay? Please complete till here, all of you. इसके बाद तुम्हारा homework है 2010, 2009, 8, 7. I have not taken in 2005, 2010 तक 11 तक के लिए. चलो. Okay, ready? 11 also done. Here this side. Chalo, now let us start with 2000, 15, 13 and 11. सबका हो गया 15, 13, 11. Okay, first let us start from here. 160 at this moment and 130. Chalo, that means how to catch up. Now 2015. Who is reading the first one? Saksham, buddy. Because last I think so you have read. सबका हो गया. Saksham, 2015. Who's the? Saksham is reading the question. Yeah, read out the question. Yes. Ammonium chloride. Yeah. 2015 first. Next one. What loudly.
Explain the bonding in methane molecule using electron dot.
Come here and draw. Methane molecule, electron dot structure. Just save 10 marks.
सर 2017 हम लोग का
नहीं हुआ 2017?
सर हाँ इनर्ट फ्रॉम आयरन
अच्छा 2017 नहीं हुआ? Still you are still higher.
सर 2017 हुआ नहीं
पूरा नहीं हुआ, थोड़ा हुआ. Okay. Yes, good. Methane. Now, good. 10 points he has got. Next one, next question. कौन पढ़ रहे हैं?
2017
शिवम, पहले ये पढ़ लो. हो गया क्या? 2015 हो गया पूरा? बाकी 2015, all of you check. With 2017 will do it.
तो 15 पूरा बाकी है
हाँ वही 15 ही कर रहे हैं ना. ये 15 कर रहे हैं 17.
17 पहले 17 कर रहे 15 आगे
चलिए ना, going on. चलो बोलो.
Consist of molecules. What type of bonding is present in the molecule?
Which type of bonding is there? Covalent. Yes. Next one. एक मिनट आएगा. चलो next one. Who is that next? Sheja, come on. बढ़िया. Yes. What is the reason? Does not contain free ions because it's covalent molecule. It does not produce ions. Next one. शेजा के पास कौन है? शिवांगी पढ़िए.
सर अभी 17 सर 17
15 हो गया.
हाँ
एक मिनट अभी इन लोग का आने दो. Sit down. 2000 now ready. That side 2014 हो गया ना आपका? 2012. Come on, start. Shruti will start first. 2012. Now this team is here. Atharva, they are actually what 200 points.
Whoa!
Okay. Here, come on. कौन सा है? If you want to come over here, you will get 40 points. Hydronium, very important. नहीं इधर प्लस साइन इधर सब जगह एरो नहीं एक ही जगह उधर ही एरो प्लस साइन गुड
Now we should get 60 points, right?
Okay, today only we discussed. But it's the 3 question. 40 points. We'll get it. Okay. Now next, Seher, पढ़िए. अच्छा हाँ उसका है. पहले किसका है? इस साइड संस्कृति बोलिए. Classify क्या बोले? Read out. लासी भाई
अरे किसका बुक है?
कौन सा क्वेश्चन है? Who will give the answer? Sanskruti, are you able to give one? Somebody else you know? Atomic number 19. So? Yes, 19. It's metal, yes. Then 8. Atomic number 8. And 287. Non-metal. Yes. And एक ही क्वेश्चन क्वेश्चन एक ही है ओके क्वेश्चन नहीं तो उधर ही बैठ जाओ पीछे बैठ जाओ नहीं सर पीछे ओके नाउ चिल्ड्रन listen to it carefully yeah
Sir, there are
two parts come on
The first answer was given and the second question is give the molecular formula of the compound between E and G.
E and G what is E
So potassium and G is fluorine.
तो AG हो गया ना आयोनिक हाँ आयोनिक बॉन्ड तो उसी का पार्ट है कि टोटल अमाउंट कितना हो गया 70 ठीक है both are getting now last question is like 2017 right time is up children back to your books put your books just 1 minute you relax your nobody will go still 1 minute एक break is not started wait
sir break
एक मिनट अभी तक चलते हैं Wait. 12:29.
हाँ बस रहने दे बहुत अच्छी रहने दे अरे नहीं लिखा
हो गया ना टाइम 12:30 yeah चलो
यार मुझे खाना खाना है
चल ठीक है